Good morning and happy Friday. It is the 19th of April. We're SimWorld today. I'm Marsh, joined again in a dark, secluded area. No faces. Rick Blaze. Morning, Rick.
Yeah, the people's not gonna like not seeing my face, but alas, here we are.
Well, I actually kind of enjoy it. We have a big night of SimWorld BA action tonight. Play in conclusion in the East and the West. I think that each of them carries a pretty interesting line of story. Rick, in the East, I guess we could start there, which is the first game this afternoon. There's not going to be any Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat as they try to avoid elimination against the Bulls. He is out with an MCL injury. This feels like the perfect opportunity for the Bulls to sneak into the playoffs and justify somehow that all their disastrous decisions to not tear this team apart somehow managed to work out.
And that's why I hope they don't make the playoffs. I need this to break up. This is over.
Mm-hmm.
They've had their run. They've tried what they've tried. They have talent. It didn't work well together. I'm a big Zach LaVine fan. I think it's time for people to go their separate ways. On the other side, with the Heat, you know, they're a mess too. And with Jimmy Butler being out, who had a very fun. Did you see the quote that yesterday on social media? I don't know if it's true. Now, it was very funny by him and Hero getting into like a little scuffle.
No, I didn't hear this.
So really quick. So I guess Hero went 9 for 27 for the game when they lost the other night, and he was
Mm-hmm.
on the bus or on the plane, kept hollering out Jimmy Butler 9 for 27, 9 for 27, 9 for 27. So I guess Hero got mad and took a swing at Jimmy Butler, like
There's
a
no
real swing,
way.
and he didn't connect. He missed him, and Jimmy Butler didn't holler out 9 for 28.
There's no, there's no way.
That's exploding. I don't know if it's legit, but it's floating around the internet. It's the funniest thing, whether it's true or not. It's done very well. It sounds like some Jimmy Butler talk though. It sounds like something Jimmy Butler would say. But yeah, that's a side note. But I hope that the Bulls don't win. Crank
I
that up.
I cannot believe this is true. So I'm not gonna do the deep dive here on SimWorld today, but uh that's bold, but it's not wrong because this team is nothing Miami without Jimmy Butler. And so we talked about it yesterday. Bam Adebayo is just this ultimate tease of a basketball player. He has these big nights. He does so many great things defensively. He'll go for 20 and 12 and 7 assists, and you think, okay, this guy can carry us, but he never consistently does it. And that's the challenge with Miami, and that's part. Obviously Miami is going to be an attractive destination just like Los Angeles is anytime a star is on the market because it's Miami. I mean, look, I live in South Florida. I'll tell you what, January when it's 75 to 80 degrees at the high end, it's pretty damn nice. I can't deny that. But the problem is this team just doesn't have anything else, right? We are trying to convince ourselves that Tyler Hero is the scorer. Duncan Robinson's renaissance fest of a season has been well regarded and should be well respected. But the fact that that's a big note for them is concerning. Terry Rozier being this big acquisition, scary Terry, that's just not a move that actually moves the needle. And so this roster has been ill put together. They've certainly tried. This is not a discredit to the front office, which is one of the better ones in the league. It's just that this isn't really deep. And when you are so reliant on Jimmy Butler to go off and become, you know, playoff Jimmy, when he can't even show up in general, that's where your challenge is. And I think this season from the Heat, this challenge that the Warriors have had, it underscores that so many of these teams want to just say, let's just survive the regular season. We're going to rest our guys. We're going to put ourselves into a good situation. The challenge is your margin for error by throwing away a game mid-season because you're resting a guy or because you think you can lighten their minute loads. It's just not possible in today's league. You cannot do
Yep.
it with the depth that the league has today.
Yep. And in Miami's specific case, they have a bunch of pieces. But they don't have besides Jimmy, they don't have a guy who has that extra
No.
gear. So, and you got to have somebody who has that extra gear. And again, Jimmy's getting older. So his gears is probably not as moving as fast as it once was, or
Hmm.
as so and now with this injury, who knows, right? So you just looking at two teams who are limping into the game between the Bulls and the Heat.
Yep.
And if it could end in a tie, that'd probably be the best outcome, but it can't.
It would be the worst outcome for the viewer. Just for context, the Miami Heat, we want to talk about just if you throw, I'm not saying the Heat deliberately threw a game away, but you just look how valuable each win is in today's league. They were 2 games away from being the 4 seed. 2 games. That's it. 2 games. And they would have had home court advantage in the first round, and they wouldn't even be playing in the play in. On the opposite side, Golden State was 3 games away from being the 6 seed, and they obviously are going home. I say all that to underscore the point. Not that those teams were going to be championship winners, but you cannot throw away a game mid-season. Let's go to the other side of the docket where it's going to be the Pelicans and the Kings again in a situation where the Pelicans are without Zion, the Kings are without most of their roster, but this kind of feels like the most obvious pathway for the Kings to get into the postseason, not only considering the inconsistency that the Pelicans have, but on top of the fact Zion, like we said, is out. Brandon Ingram benched in the fourth quarter of that Lakers loss. CJ McCollum benched in the fourth quarter of that Lakers loss. They were relying on what's his name? Jose. I don't want to call him Oh God, I can't believe I'm botching this
Jose
last.
V. We just say Jose V.
Jose V. Sure, we'll go with that. As your star of the fourth quarter, that's just terrible. This feels like it's got to be the Kings to lose.
Yeah, I think there needs to be
Alvarado. I'm
some
sorry, Rick. Alvarado. Jose Alvarado. There we
Alvarado.
go.
There you
Continue.
go. There you go.
Rick moment for me
Alvarado. I I think there needs to be a deep dive into why those players was on the bench though.
because they stunk.
Yeah, but I understand that. But you go with the girl who brought you to the dance.
Do you?
You ride home with the person that brought you to the dance. I understand you can stink for 3.5. You can stink for 3.5 quarters, 3 3/4 quarters. But if you can make it in the fourth when we need you the most, you ride with it. I understand going with the guys. I get it. But at some point in time, this is winning time. So if you're telling me with our season on the line, an opportunity to go to the playoffs, my best guys is not on the court, that says more than anything else.
I mean, Ingram wasn't awful statistically, 6 of 9, 13 points. CJ McCollum was pretty bad, 9 of 19. A lot of that just kind of came in garbage time. They were just getting towards. I agree with the Ingram point. I think you got to have a way to get Ingram out there. But to the Kings, this is the clear opportunity. This is a great matchup for Sabonis. There's not going to be the athleticism that would traditionally overwhelm him. Alvarado's a phenomenally pestering point guard, but I think De'Aaron Fox should have runways to the hoop that he was showcasing against Golden State, and they have, I would argue, a little bit better backcourt there. This is going to be a really great opportunity, and this is a chance for the Kings to save what's otherwise been a pretty disappointing season for them. They have been up and down all season long. They have not reached the pinnacle that they did last year, where they got to the 3 seed. Obviously, they got upset, but that you came into the offseason with the Kings saying, hey, we're building. We're building on something. Yeah, we lost, but it's to this, historic Steph Curry night. We can still be a contender in the West. And again, the Western Conference, exceptionally competitive. If they were the same boat as Golden State, as 46 wins, 3 games would have gotten them up to the 6 seed. A lot of that kind of thrown away down the stretch. But if you can salvage this and get a matchup with Oklahoma City, which is a good one, which is a good one with the Oklahoma City team that does not have an elite defender inside the paint, although I think Chet Holmgren and the Sabonis matchup might favor the Thunder, or at least they like it. But this is a chance to salvage things for Sacramento. It's a chance for both to salvage, but for Sacramento, I think this has been a bigger disappointment considering who they were a season ago.
Agreed. They seem like they always are on the cusp of a breakthrough, but they never get their break, right? It never quite happens. Last year, being I'm going to say upset, but they had a momentum, and Golden State, the veterans took them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year, they came in here with a lot. They came in this season with a lot of momentum and a lot of hoopla and a lot of expectation. And it's been unfortunate with the injuries and things like that. So they never can seem to get quite over the hump. I'm reminded of the time when the Brad Millers and the Stojakovic will lose to the Lakers and the Kobe Bryant and them. They never can quite get over the hump when it needs to get over the hump. That's been the MO for the Kings. But this is opportunity to try to get in the playoffs and see what they can do.
All right, we'll head to SimWorld U, where the first round games in the West and East region are through. Only one upset. North Texas upsets as the 11 seed Auburn. I think that's surprising for this one. A high scoring first round. We're seeing a ton of 190-point games, but we're also seeing some SimWorld Prep alumni cooking. Trey Turner has a huge night in Tennessee's blasting of Northwestern, 34 points, 6 3-pointers. Lorenzo Phenom, 41-15, sets up the Michigan-Maryland rematch. Jaylyn Snow and Glory Tate each get rolling in their matchups. What stood out to you from the first round of the West and the East regions?
I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but I have to call it balls and strikes. Phenom.
Yeah.
I go on record saying I think he's a guy coming out of high school who was just walking it through. You know what I mean? Like not really living up to the potential, not really. I didn't think he had the work ethic, but hey, the young man, obviously he's grown up a little bit mentally and matured a little bit, and he's getting in his bag, and he's becoming the phenom like his name says. So I have to give credit where credit is due. Not the biggest phenom fan, but he's showing that, hey, I put it together, I can get it together, and I can be the player that people expect me to be.
And remember, this has kind of just been the story of Phenom. He kicked off the SimWorld U season with a 50-point game. I mean,
Yep.
it's not as if he hasn't been impressive, because he certainly has been. But you're right. It's Phenom has a little bit of Bam Adebayo to him in that tease, right? He has
Yep.
these huge nights, and you're like, okay, this guy's like coming up, and then he has games where he just kind of disappears. He's not that efficient. He doesn't play that well. He gets outplayed by somebody that he shouldn't. And now they're going up against a Maryland team with Cooper Kingy Cross that just beat them in the Big Ten semifinals, 83-75. This, whatever happens, I think we've reached this point in Cooper Kingy Cross's career. He's next. And if he does not, I hate to put lofty expectations on a guy, but now through both his prep season and his first season in SimWorld U, this guy's for real, and he's going to be a problem.
Absolutely, 100%.
Which shouldn't be a shock. That shouldn't be a shock.
No,
it's just further confirmation that at the next level, he has been absolutely incredible.
Yes, he has Allen Iverson-like twitch on the offensive end with quickness with the ball and his ability to score at any point, anywhere on the court. I'm not saying he's Allen Iverson. Please don't nobody quote me on that. Allen Iverson-like twitch on the offensive side. But he's a handful, right? He's a handful. He plays the passing lanes on defense. Not much of an on-ball defender, but he does play the passing lane. CKC. The only question is now is, where does he go in the draft? We know he's top 10. Is he 1? Is he somewhere in top 5? That's the only question now. And he can only add to his legacy with these games coming up.
Adding to the legacy are the OGs. They picked up their 10th win of the season last night. They beat Gotham 5. They're closing in on Philadelphia's record of 12 wins. And they did this one last night, Rick, without a huge performance from Cooper Kingy Cross. He had just 16 points in the win. Victoris Ilgauskas was the leading scorer, and they smashed Gotham. It's not like they snuck past them. This team has been elite all season long. That's not a shocker. Are they changing your mind at all, as in terms of they can actually bona fide win a championship?
No, it's
really?
Gotham. We
it's the outcome, or it's the opponent.
Let's not get crazy here. Now I did see something that was phenomenal, and that's Colts with 14 assists. Let's not sneeze at that. 14 assists is big time basketball, but that's getting it done. So to see someone else to step up, you got Ilgauskas step up, Coach stepped up. To see other guys stepped up is what they need. Now, if they can get that consistently amongst the others, we can talk about championship aspirations from my perspective. But I haven't seen it consistently. Right now, they're kind of like the Miami Heat. Flag is Jimmy Butler, and then everybody else is everybody else. If they can be consistent, if the others can be consistent, we can talk about championship aspirations. But until I see that, and we only have a few games left in the regular season, I think they're going to be a fun team to watch, and I think Upset City is coming sometime down the line.
How about this for a storyline setup? Their next two games, Oceania and Middle East, both on the road, but coming up the 23rd and 27th of April. Those are opponents you would think they would have a shot at beating. That would put their win streak at 12 games. They
Yeah.
would go for win number 13 at home against Beasts of the East. That is the only way you could write that better is Philadelphia coming in. They get them 2 games later, but that is a brutal game 13, and in a good way, an exciting game 13 if they were able to take care of Oceania and Middle East.
Maybe, Marsh. Here's the thing.
What do you mean maybe? Those are two of the top teams in the league.
I know, but here's what I'm thinking. I speak to Coach Drayton quite often. I can see Coach Drayton maybe not pulling all the tricks out the bag for this because the tournament's right down the street.
I'm not saying he's going to pull the tricks out of the bag. I'm just saying it's a 19 win team versus 17 win team. Just the talent level.
If Coach Drayton decides he don't want to step on the gas, then you're not going to have as great of a game that you would normally have.
The Beasts of the East are good enough that you don't have to pull out all the tricks for them to be an elite team. They can just walk out the gate, play their normal game that they've put 23 games worth of evidence on. You're not revealing any more secrets and still be an elite team. I don't think they need to have some tricks. And you're right. I wouldn't pull tricks out the bag for stopping a win streak, but they can just walk out on the court and be a problem. That game will be a good watch regardless of
that. It'll be a good watch, no matter what.
All right, we had a big night in SimWorld Prep, so we'll hit our SimWorld recap. We'll kick things off. Asia Pacific with a stunner over Philadelphia Elite. Jet-lagged Philadelphia squad that arrived 30 minutes prior to tip-off. No respect out in APAC to move that game back. Monte Parson led the way. All scores with 18, but Philadelphia shoots just 34% in the loss.
Yeah, that was crazy. After that, you have the game of Beast of the East and Bad Boys basketball. Beast of the East drops one. We just talked about it. Drops one to Bad Boys basketball, 67-60. That's going to make that matchup and at the end of April really, really exciting.
The OGs avoid the upset bug with that 84-61 win over Gotham 5. You mentioned Chris Coates with 14 assists. Ilgauskas with 7 boards to go with his 18 points. OGs shoot 60% from the floor.
Is it Chris or Christ? I don't know. Lone Star basketball rebounds after a loss the night before, and 71-61 over the Indy Stripes. Latimer leads the way with that one.
Andrei Ivanov, the Russian Jokic, 29-9, 2-2. Europe rebounds from a loss, 80-73. All right, that is our show for this Friday. A little special Friday treat for you. 1 p.m. Gotham 5 South America coming to you on SimWorld TV. 11 a.m. over on ESPN2. Lakeshore Drive trying to snap their 4-game losing streak. That is our doubleheader in terms of broadcast games. A little local broadcast. H-Town in Africa today on a SimWorld Friday. We'll be back on Monday recapping all that's happened. By the time we chat to you on Monday, it will be play-in confirmation. It'll be first round of the SW playoffs and SWBA playoffs, and we'll have our Sweet 16 set up in basketball bedlam. That's our show, Rick. Thanks for coming on. We will talk to you on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend.
Peace.